Hello, everybody.
Oh, hello.
Today we're going to be doing another deck profile for the POG format, which is Ultra Prism, 2 Darkness Ablaze, not post-rotation. Yeah, we're going to be doing another POG format for the championship that they're having on the 22nd and 23rd. Details about that are some videos on my channel. You can find them there. Anyways, I assume you already know about that. We are going to be doing a deck profile. If you saw the, title thing, the thumbnail, you already know what deck profile it is. We are going to be doing a pretty spicy rogue Kartana deck profile here. So if you don't know, the concept behind Kartana is its second attack false swipe. If you flip a coin and you get heads, then your opponent's Pokemon is left with 10 HP. Now, the question becomes, how do you clean up that damage, that last 10 HP? There's a number of ways to do it. This deck has a lot of those different ways. And this deck, I think, also has a very consistent engine for Kartana as well. As not only that, its engine allows it to have other attackers that I feel like are actually viable. So you don't have to rely on coin flips. And then if you have a couple of bad turns with coin flips, then you're like, well, Kartana is my only attacker. No, this deck has other attackers. It's interesting, so we can just get into it then. Okay, like I said, I've said it 3 times already. Kartana. Kartana is our main Pokemon. We have 3 Kartanas. You don't need 4. In my honest opinion, you're only ever going to get 3 set up anyways. But 3 is good. If you need more than 3 Kartanas in a game and you're taking OHKOs preferably, you shouldn't be attacking with Kartana to begin with because you're playing a 1-prizer deck. So this has other Pokemon to do that. So 3 Kartanas. The main attack that you really need to care about is its second attack, full swipe. Like I said, for grass and 2 colorless, you flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's Pokemon is left with 10 HP. You do have that big cut for 1 grass energy, which does, 10 plus 120 more if you have exactly, if you have exactly 4 prize cards. So 130 could clean up a 1 prizer somewhere. So it might be viable at some point. But this Pokemon has only 70 HP, so it's probably not living more than that turn that you take that 1 hit anyways. That said, an important aspect of Kartana is it does have free retreat, which is super important in this game, in this matchup spread, because you can use it as a pivot if you need. You can switch into things, retreat. There's a variety of different ways that you can use that free retreat, so it's super useful. Now, outside of Kartana, we are a welder-based deck. This is a welder-based Kartana deck. So we are going to want to find those welders. And to do that, we have 3 Jirachis. We have 3 Jirachis. You could maybe find room for the 4th somewhere in here. 3 was fine, I suppose. But 3 Jirachis feels fine. Basically, Stellar Wish lets you search at the top 5 cards of your deck and pick a trainer card. So that's how you hopefully find some welders. Then we have the other attackers and power Pokemon and everything like that. So we have 2 Volcanion. I like 2 Volcanion for a variety of reasons in this meta. 2 Volcanion is good for powering up Kartana if you're going second and you happen to have it. Volcanion is also good because it one-shots Zacian itself. So High Heat Blast, good for that. Volcanion is also good because it can one-shot Decidueyes with High Heat Blast. All when you have 4 energy on the board, mind you, but still. So it's just a very versatile attacker in a number of different matchups. So I like Volcanion. Just really good Pokemon. In terms of other attackers, we have 1 Heatran. Just to have something a little bit beefier that has a consistent 130 damage attack. 130 is a little better than 110. 110 can sometimes miss things that are 120 or 130 HP, so consistent 130 attacker. Also, you may have circumstances where your GX attack of choice for the game is Hot Burn. You could do a Hot Burn. I did a Hot Burn for not crazy amounts of damage just because I needed to take a knockout immediately. And I could get 3 or 4 energy onto it to do that. So Heatran is good for that. Now, the other GX attack that you might want to use in a game, depending on the circumstances, is Blacephalon GX. Again, Ultra Prism to Darkness Ablaze, so this is not post-rotation. Now, the reason you have this is, yes, confusion and burn is interesting, but not really what matters here. And you never, I don't think, want to use Mind Blown in this deck unless you have to. But Burst GX is what it's here for. So if you get, the coin flip that you need, you take 3 prizes early with Kartana. You can then set up a 2-prize KO later in the game with Heatran maybe, or with Volcanion or another Kartana, or, whatever, it doesn't matter. So ADP is a good example. Take out ADP with Kartana, check. Take out Zacian with Volcanion, check. You've only given them a single prizer in the active twice. And if you've played your cards right, maybe you haven't had to put any 2 prizers down, but maybe you only put down 1. So they have to take 3 knockouts still to win the game. So you're on that same pace with them. And then instead of trying to knock something else out for that last 2 prizes or whatever, throw down a Blacephalon, Burst GX, you win the game. So in that respect, it helps you with the pacing between an ADPZ even. Then this card here, it's backwards because I don't actually have it and I don't have a proxy for it. This is Slowbro V. So for any of you who are just watching the screen cap at the end and asking me in the comments, shame on you, just watch the video. But this is Slowbro V. What Slowbro V does is it's a beefy Pokemon, but it is a 2-prizer. Don't love that. But if it's in the active, you can leave your opponent's active Pokemon poisoned. So the whole point is you get this into the active, leave their opponent's Pokemon poisoned, and then switch it out of the active. Now it has a 3 retreat cost, which is pretty hefty. So that hefty retreat cost, we have a few ways to get around that. Obviously there's switch, but there's also one of the new special energies that we have one of in the deck, just to see if that maybe helps. But yeah, we have 1 Zigzagoon. So these are all sort of your damage modifiers to take that last KO. So the idea is get them down to 10 with Kartana. If you were able to poison them before your attack, then they take the 10 poison damage and then they get knocked out. So it's essentially an OHKO. But if you can't clean up those OHKOs, you do have Zigzagoons in here to clean up the OHKOs after the fact. I don't know how much Mallow and Lana is going to be played. I don't think anything like Hyper Potion is going to be played that much. Maybe like 1 or 2 decks might play it, like Centiskorch. But assuming they don't have one of those things in hand immediately, you can then take the next turn, take the knockout, maybe take a second knockout and take 5, 6 prizes all in one turn. So, yeah, Zigzagoon is there for that. And then finally, we have a Mew. The Mew is for a variety of reasons. Like I said, Kartana has very little HP, so things like Salamence could be really bad because you can spread a lot of damage to Kartanas. That's not good. But also Mew just can place 3 damage counters. So let's say you Kartana on an Eternatus VMAX, get it down to 10. Okay, they're like, oh, I got to get this out of here. Retreat. Another Eternatus, get it down to 10. You weren't able to get the poison up. Bring up Mew, Psi Power, take 6 prizes, you win the game. So it's a versatile, bench sitter plus situational attacker. Then finally, we have 2 other cards here. We have 1 Eldegoss V, because you never know when you're going to need a Welder or a Boss's Order immediately. And we have 1 Dedenne just to see some more cards. Normally, I think in Welder decks, you want to have even more Dedennes. But I think the nice thing about this Welder deck is you're relying mostly on 1 prizer, so it's not as extreme. So, to that end then, we're getting into supporters. I've talked a lot about the Pokemon, but that's mostly because the Pokemon are complicated to the different setups. We are going to have 4 Welders. 4 Welders, attach 2 fire, draw 3, really good. So this is a fire-based engine, as you can already tell. We have 3 Research, just to see more cards. You'll have plenty of turns where you may not need to Welder. And then you're going to have 3 Boss's Order. 3 Boss's Order, also very good to gust up those really big Pokemon in the back that are hiding from Kartana. Getting into the items now. Pretty standard stuff to start with. We have 4 Quick Balls to find your basic Pokemon. Here's where it gets a little different. We have 3 of these Net Balls. The Net Balls will find you, yes, Kartana, but they will also find you your Grass Energy if you need. So, yeah, very versatile item card in that respect. This is an interesting one. We have 2 Beast Rings. Mostly because, look, Kartana is an Ultra Beast, and your opponent is probably going to get down to 4 or 3 prize cards in the game at some points, maybe for a turn or two. So you have plenty of turns then to find these B strings. And if you can get into the B string turn, which I did in the video that I recorded for this, it's pretty amazing. You can power up 1, even 2 Kartanas if you can find both B strings and have 2 Kartanas on the board. That really puts your opponent in a weird situation about like gusting things up, right? So 2 B strings, very powerful in this deck, I think. And then we have 2 fire crystals because, you know, you'll have some fire in the discard. You can go get it out and welder it on. In terms of other items, we are gonna have 4. Well, let's do this one quick. And then 1 ordinary rod. Ordinary rod on top of the crystals gets you back your Kartanas. It can also get you back your grass energy, which is important. If you lose your grass energy early in the game, that's very bad. So you want to make sure you don't discard them all or that you have an ordinary rod to put them back. Now, in terms of pulling off these combos, you need to pull off some combos with Slowbro to get it into the active and then out of the active. You're going to have 4 switches here. I went for 4 switch, 3 scoop up net, mostly because switch is just as good as scoop up net from getting things out of the active, but switch works on any Pokemon, including Slowbro, whereas scoop up net, there was a game or two where I just felt like I wish I had a switch and not a scoop up net, so I just leaned a little bit more into switch there. Then finally, 1 reset stamp, super powerful card here. You don't have any other disruption in this deck. You're not playing Marnie or anything like that, so a reset stamp out of nowhere down to 2 can be huge in these games. Now, like I was saying earlier, this Kartana relies on a coin flip. And the reason Kartana hasn't been played much is for a variety of reasons. One of them is taking that extra 10 damage. The other of which is how do you make sure that you flip heads? They did print Will, which is a supporter, but you need to Welder, not Will. So now we have a new stadium coming out. That stadium is called Glimwood Tangle. Now what Glimwood Tangle does is for your attack, you can re-roll a coin flip. You can't re-roll a coin flip at any point during the game, it's just the attack, but that's all we need. So if you roll for your attack and it's tails and you're like, I don't like that, you can roll a second time by using Glimwood Tangle. We have 3 of these in the deck because you really want to find them. Your opponent might play a swell, so you want to be able to bump the swell and get another one out there. So 3 feels nice. We are playing 3. We are not playing any giant hearths in this. I could certainly see making space for 1 hearth or making space for fire crystal to find your fire energy maybe. But I didn't necessarily have a terribly hard time finding fire energy. We played a decent amount. So yeah, getting into the fire energy then. We are gonna have, let's see, we have 5, 8 fire energy. So 8 fire energy in here. You can maybe find space for more, like I said. And note that with 8 fire energy, you're not going to probably be getting a Heatran with 7 energy. So just something to keep in mind. The whole point of those OHKOs are coming from Kartana, not Heatran, on really big like VMAXs. Then we got 3 grass energy. 3 feels about right. Between that and ordinary rod, I feel like it works. And then we have 1 of the Hide Dark. This is an energy that I'm on the fence about. I don't have a Guzma and Holland here, so it's not like I can just go grab it. So it's kind of right now like a bonus. If you find it, then you get the free retreat on the Slowbro V and huzzah, right? But if you don't, we have enough switches where it's usually okay. And you only need to pull off that Slowbro V combo maybe once in a game, honestly. So not the biggest thing in the world. If you wanted to replace that with something else, another fire energy or whatever, I think that would work. But that is the deck profile. I think that this is a really powerful rogue deck archetype. I really like a fire version of Kartana because it gives you access to other attackers that are really powerful in this meta. And then, yeah, just a whole suite of supporters and items. But anyways, let me know what you think about this in the comments. I really dig it. You can see the video of me playing this deck. You can see its highs and its lows all in that one video. So please check that out if you're interested. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in a future video. Carpe awesome.